Hello, and welcome back to Danganronpa Another. On the last episode, we finished up the first part of this class trial, and oh my god, it was so long, and it was so confusing, and I don't know, guys. I'm told this is the longest trial in the entire game, so I probably won't have to suffer much more after this, but getting to that anagram when it was just Korean characters, I almost lost it, I'm not gonna lie. It was overwhelming. So, I'm trying to stay, positive. I am curious who it is gonna end up being, and I think we'll get to that today. I think this will probably end up being another two-parter, because judging about how long it was last time, it only makes sense. And with that being said, I guess we can go right back into it. Tyra, among us, the word maid refers to, or rather, I can't think of anyone but you. Akane. That's... It's really her? You killed Tamori? Now, wait a minute. There must be a misunderstanding. I mean, something like this. This is too much. Please, wait a minute, everyone. I have nothing. I didn't do anything. The dying message was written by a person. The Lord does not lie. As long as the dying message refers to the word maid, it has already been revealed.
Was it a lie at the beginning of the trial to cover up her crime?
No. Tyra, tell me with your own words. Are you really the culprit? Me? I'm not the killer. Akane. Why am I the culprit? The dying message may say the word maid, but there's a big X next to it. You guys have only interpreted the maid and didn't interpret X after that. That X could literally be an X. Doesn't that mean negative? In other words, it means not the maid, so I'm not the culprit. I don't know yet if what Tyra said is true, but certainly, as she said, we haven't fully decoded the dying message yet.
Okay, the X at the end.
Well, if you simply look at it, it really looks like it says not the maid, but...
If the dying message means not the maid, as Tyra says, I would rather be more suspicious of Tyra. Huh? Why?
Don't you think so? Who is the killer? I don't recall seeing messages saying who is not the killer. It seems illogical to write. An innocent one in blood by the own victim. Rather, you would think it's not the maid to take yourself off the suspect list.
Hey, doesn't that mean the culprit themselves wrote the dying message? That's right. There's no law saying that dying messages are all true. They can show up in many ways. For example, the killer manipulates the dying message to lead an advantage in the trial.
Yeah, maid X, as it is. Meaning, the only one who would benefit from writing that it is not a maid would be the maid herself, Tyra.
Whether the interpretation of the dying message is this or that, there's no way to avoid the word maid.
Maybe it's made up, like Yuki Maida. Because some people pronounce it Yuki Maida. I don't know, but it's not me, but the thing in there said my note, so obviously Yuki's somehow connected to this. Akane, you really are. Is Tyra really the culprit? Can we conclude the case like this? I don't think it's her. I genuinely think it isn't her. I think someone's trying to set her up. But what is this feeling? Is my heart screaming? I feel like All of this, it feels so contradictory. Is it okay to end up with Tyra being the culprit? Can I vote now? It will be painful to do anymore. It'll just be... I just want to end this quickly. Wait. Kurokawa? Obviously. It's true that Tyra was suspicious. Clearly, the way she acted seems questionable. However, there's a problem yet to be solved. What? An unsolved problem? As Kurokawa said, it's too soon to end like this. There must be a cause for this unpleasant feeling. Yeah, a secret that hasn't been solved yet. No! Oh no, I'm gonna die. Non-stop debate. An unsolved problem, I do not know.
Well, what's the point? The dying message is also over. What else is there?
The secret of the window is over.
Tool procurement problem has also been solved.
Wait a minute, is there anything left remaining as Kurokawa says? Only for murder, I'm thinking. Don't you think about cases other than murder? It's something other than murder? So I'm gonna agree with her here.
What problem is more important than murder?
Kurokawa's words have a clue hidden in them. Certainly so far I've been confused about the dying message and the crime situation, but I've been rushing to see the real important fact that we might have missed. Or we have solved so far in this case. What we are missing. Okay. Break. Yeah, right, that's it.
Oh, did you find something, Maida?
Guys, I think it's still a little bit early to call Tyra the culprit. What? What do you mean? You're the one that said the dying message had the word made. About that, I still can't conclude for sure. Thanks to Kurokawa, I could think of something actually. Right after the incident, do you all remember Hatsuno's injury?
Of course, now the trial is coming to an end and Hatsuno's condition is worsening. Get that in order, okay?
Why was Hatsuno injured? Everyone think about it.
Why did she get hurt? You saw it. She was hurt by a wire trap in the leg.
Think about it. Who installed the wire trap? When does this come into play?
I mean, the killer must have installed it.
That's it. In other words, your opinion is that the suspected killer, meaning Tyra, installed the wire trap, right? Now, wait a second. I've never installed anything like that. Why would I aim for IMH-on?
Well, that doesn't really mean you can't, though.
Wait a minute, Tyra installed the wire trap? The wire trap is there, but when it was installed...
When was the wire installed? I don't know exactly what's on the wire, but I can guess because I was there when Hatsuno was injured. Hatsuno was trying to grab something at that time. The wire was installed along the way to serve as the bait for it. Then the wire must have been installed as soon as the object was placed. And that object wasn't there, at least until that point. So then when was the wire installed? It was after the investigation began. Nope. When the wire was installed, it was probably immediately after starting the investigation. I believe so.
Is there a good reason for that opinion?
The wire is not visible, so the exact installation time of the wire itself is unknown. But by other elements, it can be inferred. Actually, Hatsuno wasn't just hurt. When she was injured, I know I was right next to them, but Hatsuno was injured by the wire while approaching to find and investigate some kind of object, and she got caught in the trap. Hatsuno, do you remember?
perhaps? Are you referring to the burnt flashlight?
Yeah, there's no such thing in the corner when I found the body with everyone in the power room, but it was there after the investigation started.
In other words, the killer used the flashlight as bait to induce someone to get caught in the wire trap? If so,
Then they set the flashlight and installed the wire at the same time. Immediately after the investigation began is the approximate time to install it. Yeah, it's right after the start of the investigation, right? The wire was installed shortly after the investigation began?
Yamaguchi?
It's strange. This is weird. Weird. Is it not weird?
Ew, why the sun yelling?
Everyone open your ears and listen. Tyra's the culprit, and he's Tyra installed the wire right after the investigation started. Yes, but... That's impossible. Why, you ask? It's because Tyra was with me!
you were with Tyra, surely.
And there was a relationship. I love her so much. Oh my god, she's so stupid. Can you stop that? Don't put a joke like that. Don't joke like that at a time like this. Oh my god, they were dating this whole time.
Huh? Does that mean?
I know this exactly, because Tyra was in the same place I was, and we didn't do anything.
What? How can you say that you didn't do anything so proudly?
No, what I mean is, I was going to do some investigation, but I seldom made progress, so, haha. Anyway, that's not what's important. It's Tyra's story. I swear to you, Tyra has been stuck in one spot since everyone gathered to the power room until the trial announcement came out.
What? Is that for real? Apart from anything else, there was only one spot that was inefficient even if you did a little investigation. I want to hear why. Why didn't you mention this, Tyra?
No, it was shocking that Kizuna-chan died.
Did any of us do that? Even so, everyone participated in the investigation, but that is not a reason.
It doesn't really matter. What's more important than that now? Tyra didn't do anything at the time of the investigation, meaning she couldn't install the wire, right?
Yeah, that's why I said it's weird.
And Tyra is not the killer?
I mean, I've been trying to say that from the very beginning. But what's called a maid? Are we wrong with the interpretation? It's not just that. Tyra lied. She's still a suspect no matter how we continue.
But when that happens, you can't explain the wire trap.
What's going on? I think my head will be weird if it gets twisted anymore. Can we stop this already?
If you want to die, do it. I won't stop you.
It's definitely weird. Apart from being simply contradictory, logically it's playing itself separately, as if several incidents seem to be a gathering event. Why? What's missing? It's as if the contradictions don't stop to conclude that Tyra is the culprit, but there doesn't seem to be any different direction of the case. What is the truth of this case? If Tyra isn't the culprit, what we've been doing so far for, you mean it was all good for nothing?
But if that's the case, then who is the culprit? Who do we vote for?
I can't keep going. We keep hitting dead ends. Even in the midst of this, Hachino's leg injury must be getting worse.
Well, I'll say this. Other than Tyra, is there not another suspicious person?
Who was that?
Kurokawa.
What? Why Kurokawa?
Well, I don't understand it because of all the dying message and the wire installation, but Kurokawa suddenly disappeared during the investigation. Wasn't she suspicious to anyone?
Looking at it, the broadcast announcing the start of the class trial ran, but we gathered quite late and Monokuma brought her.
Didn't Kenjo mention this? He said that he had main suspects in mind. If Tyra, who's been attracting attention as the high-level suspect, is not the culprit, will the other suspect, Kurokawa, who is the next suspicious person, actually be her?
Wait a second. It is true that Kurokawa was late, but what disappeared during the investigation was investigated by Kurokawa's own way. It was Kurokawa's discovery that the kitchen knife actually disappeared from the kitchen. But even if they were investigating, still, why arrive late? I was curious from the start of the trial. I want to know the reason of being late, even if you're not the culprit.
Kurokawa, you're not a killer, right?
Please answer us. Don't be uneasy. I'm not the culprit. The reason for being late, I can't tell you now. After the trial, I'll tell you why.
If it was for a good reason, isn't there no reason to hide it? Why can't you tell us? The more you hide it, the more suspicious it gets.
I'm sorry, but trust me, I'm not the killer. Regardless of the reason, isn't it a little too much to say that Kurokawa is the culprit? She doesn't seem to have anything to do with the dying message. It would have been impossible to install the wire, however.
No, but there's no other way. This is impossible. She's impossible. It's all possibilities again. Who's the killer then? Even if it's a ghost, it's not impossible.
You really are fools without answers. Shouldn't you be aware of this?
What do you mean?
What? That's the truth of this case. I told you, didn't I? I said I wouldn't help you people, but once it's a trial with my life at stake, if there's no answer, I'll solve it. So, in other words, you are idiots with no answer to the extent that I have to come out like this.
Damn it, Mekaru is destroying us.
Mekaru's attitude is sarcastic, but I think she knows something. Mekaru may give us a clue about this situation that we cannot overcome alone.
When you look at the goals of your reasoning, I can see how hard your brains are. To put it simply, you are fools who try to solve the same solution without thinking of any other method, where no other problem was solved.
Thank you for your kind summary description, but you, what do you know yourself?
If the same method doesn't work, you should know how to challenge it using a new method. Understood, child?
But what do you mean by new method?
It means throwing away stereotypes. Oh my, when it's so quiet you finally open your mouth, Psycho Police. Is it not a problem if the best young police officer in Japan gets slower answers than a professor?
It doesn't matter, but I guess it's all competition for you. Let's just say it's not. There's nothing to be gained from the charade.
There's something sparkling between you two.
But what's that mean? Stereotypes to throw away? Did you both find out something? I'll apologize first. When the trial happened, I was about to be overthrown by the killer because of the misinterpretation of this case. But I deserved it. I was guessing to some extent, but I didn't think the case would be so twisted.
It was twisted.
It's natural to say you guys made it public. This case is simple. There's a criminal, and that criminal killed the victim. If you tried to solve it, there would be contradictions.
Then wait a minute, so this isn't a murder case?
No, it is a murder. It's clearly malevolent, but do you recall what I mentioned earlier? An ordinary murder case would be difficult to solve if you think of it as a simple step-by-step scenario. While investigating before the trial, I guessed the outline frame, but at that point I couldn't confirm this either. However, as the trial progressed, Tyra's reactions and the dying message being solved as truth was reached. To be precise, the riddle that has been solved so far was one that derives from a clue, but...
Well, what's the truth about it?
To put this simply, this crime is not a case where there's one victim and one culprit being mentioned. So, am I right? Is it Kizuna tried to kill someone and it was self-defense? What? Not one culprit? Not one victim? So you mean there was an accomplice?
I didn't want to come and say that accomplices had no advantage.
No, it's a bit ambiguous to call it an accomplice. But what is certain is that a third party other than the criminal was clearly involved. Third party? Who was it? You, Tyra. Tyra was the third party? Is that different from a culprit or accomplice? For starters, I like to see it like that.
As Hikari said, if you're a criminal, you have to install a wire trap, but Taira herself couldn't afford it because of Yamaguchi. He also saw Taira stand still during that time.
Then Akane no longer needs to be questioned, right?
No, wait a minute. I'm really sorry, but I still don't get it. If Taira isn't the culprit, I don't know why the dying message points to the maid. And she even lied to us. That's why I told you Taira's a third party in this case. What? It's not a culprit. It's different from an accomplice, but it's obviously a third party who's heavily involved in the case. Maybe she's not even aware of it. The woman's personality has shown her heart on her face. It's proof that the maid lied and wrote the dying message, lying to everyone here. Seems by your facial expressions you didn't understand it. Okay. Before discussing the real criminal, let's begin with a question about it.
Ah, we're spinning. This is so stressful. Secret note, lighter, wire trap, the third flashlight.
Taira isn't just a suspect, she's a third party. I'm not sure what that means. According to your reasoning, at a first glance, Taira Akane looks like the culprit. But for Taira Akane to put the wire trap is not possible. There's a contradiction. In fact, it's okay to say that your reasoning in return is the correct answer.
A rookie mistake! Someone clean up this mess! In the first place, being a third party, doesn't that mean there's a third person besides the criminal and the victim? There are more people were involved in the crime. Is there any evidence to prove this?
Kenjo said Taira wasn't the culprit of this case, but a third party. Kenjo wouldn't say that for no reason. It is true that Taira was suspicious. Let's think about it. If Taira is a third party, it means that 3 people were involved in the case, including the killer and the victim. What clue did Kenjo notice that 3 people were involved? So it's Gaio. No, Uehara, wait. There was evidence of 3 people involved in the crime. What would that be? A flashlight, of course. There is one more flashlight.
What do you mean there is one more?
Hatsuno, that flashlight you were trying to pick up. Oh, that's why Hatsuno injured her leg on the wire. That flashlight, right?
But what is that? What does it mean when you say there was one more?
I think there were some people who haven't seen it. Let me tell you, in the switchium there were 2 broken flashlights. By the way, Marta, other than those 2, the third flashlight... On the day the 2nd floor was opened, everyone saw it while investigating, right? It's a dark place where the switch doesn't light up. Without a flashlight, nothing is visible. And the fact that Tamori died there would have been something to do with the switchium, and in that case, she must have brought a flashlight. So, one of the 3 flashlights would have to be the one Tamori brought. And, if you don't see anything, murder is not possible. It means that the culprit killed Tamori inside the switchium, and the culprit also took a flashlight, so the 2nd flashlight was brought by the killer. Huh? Hey, wait a minute. Who is the owner of the 3rd flashlight? That's right, Marta explained it very well. The switchium is not an end place, and there's nothing visible, so naturally you expect to carry a flashlight in order to go there. Even if I went, I would need my flashlight back once I'm done with my business. There's no reason to leave it behind. Wasn't this the aftermath of a struggle between the criminal and Tamori?
One moment. Isn't that just by reasoning alone? Unless there's a 0% chance that someone forgot it and left it in the past, it wouldn't be clear.
No, Uehara, there's evidence that all 3 flashlights are involved in the incident. As Kensho said, 2 flashlights were broken, and the other last one, it was burned.
Correct. It's a flashlight before it got caught in the fire. That's the flashlight that was on the scene.
Now you realize. It's that fool who still didn't understand. A
According to an inference, the fact that the case involved 3 people was the adequate basis of this case. I had no idea. You must not have known. Probably the killer tried to use Tyra.
Really? What does that mean?
We've come this far, so I wonder if it's okay to reveal it. I called Tyra a third party, but this doesn't mean you simply witnessed or helped the killer.
What is it then?
How Tyra was involved in this incident. By the time everyone might have noticed, not the culprit, but the executioner. Is it appropriate to call them like this?
Oh, what's an executor? No, if it's Tyra stabbing Mori. I guess she didn't even do it.
That's right. There's a criminal who killed her breath with a critical hit, but it was probably Tyra who made Tamori. Moribund. What's moribund mean?
What?
That's a lie. Tyra did?
Kinjo, wait a minute. Hey, don't you know what I'm talking about? Tyra Connor, you're also a criminal who committed attempted murder, you bloody bitch. What? Now wait a second. What is this so suddenly? Hey, is Tyra the executioner? What's wrong, Kabashikawa? You said you would admit that Tyra wasn't the culprit. No, rather than being able to admit it, but why did Tyra?
Yeah, I don't know what it means that there's another criminal who inflicted a critical hit, even though she was an executioner in the first place. And I can't believe that Akane did this. If you dishonor Akane without a compelling reason, I cannot forgive you.
That's right. Tyra would never do something like that. It's starting again. Didn't people say they can't know just by looking at them? Oh, you think Tyra Akane is not one to do that? After all, you just don't know enough about her. But, she... Why don't you tell me why would Tyra stab Tamori to the verge of death?
How did that happen? You've already let that go, didn't you?
Wait, let her go? You don't mean...
Yes.
The evidence that Tyra Akane personally injured Tamori Kizuna is exactly what you suspect. A dying message pointing to the maid. Tyra Akane's suspicious lie. But why wasn't she the culprit of the direct murder? That was also solved by you. Simple, isn't it? That woman didn't have time to install the wire.
Right, so I'm thinking Tamori thought that Tyra was her killer because Tyra's the one who stabbed the stomach first, but the fatal hit was the throat, and so someone else is responsible. That's what I think happened. Okay. What, everyone looks like you can't understand. Sorry, but besides this, there's evidence that Tyra Akane committed a murder attempt.
Well, is there any other evidence?
No, Kinjo's right. There's evidence I can only think of. Maeda, even you. Why? I'd love to think that, but as Kinjo says, it's all true. I knew it too. If you look at the scene of the incident, there were traces of others who couldn't exist. That trace was probably left by Tyra. According to the images in my memory, there's one definitive clue. From now on, spot selection will start. Would you like to read an explanation? Yeah. Images or photos in your memory will begin to appear. Look for the places that contain the answer to the current topic. The method is simple. A photo or pictures that fit the current topic appear. Point in the place where you can find the answer, take it and select it with a decision key. However, if you have chosen a place other than the one that gives the correct answer, in this case you will lose speech power and start again. Good luck and have fun. Ah. The note? I don't think it's here. That's thinking it's obvious. According to our reasoning earlier, the killer set up the fire to make it look like they went out through the window. In that case, the traces left behind in that place contradict the original intention of the killer. The traces in that place must have been left by Tyra, who did not know the killer's intentions. The blood? Yeah. Remember what we discussed earlier about why the killer started the fire?
The fire was used to heat the glass window and break it remotely, and to make us think the killer was inside the switch room and smashed the glass to escape, right?
Yeah, and in fact, we almost got caught in that trap and confused our reasoning. Now we were talking about why Tyra was involved in the case. Think carefully. The killer's purpose was to make us think they broke the glass. Why is there a blood spot at the entrance?
Blood at the entrance.
Is that so? A bloodstain like walking out of the switchium. That's evidence from a third party that's different from the criminal's intentions.
Was that from a struggle? Maybe it's just Tamori's blood.
If Tamori went out of the switchium while bleeding, the power room upstairs should have been filled with blood spots, don't you think so?
Does that mean the blood spot was after coming out of the switchium because it was dark then?
There were 2 broken flashlights inside the switchium. If it were broken during a struggle, you wouldn't know that blood would splatter in the dark after you stabbed Tamori.
Well, then the blood traces come from Akane.
Wait a minute. After the killer attacked Tamori, they could have set off the fire after walking out towards the entrance without knowing that the blood was on it, right? In this way, there's no room for Tyra to intervene.
Inori, I'm sorry, but that's also impossible. The one who killed Tamori by killing her probably didn't splash a drop of blood on their body. Yeah, because the real killer used that tool to prevent the blood from bleeding right before they stabbed Tamori. That tool was... that. Actually, there was a piece of cloth covered in blood in the corner of the switchium. Oh, bloody.
Yes, Haru, it is bloody.
This is... Right. Anyone planning a murder must be concerned about the bleeding. Probably they used it on Tamori, without a drop of blood on their own body.
If the real culprit uses it and murders Tamori, there's no reason for a blood smear on the entrance.
What? Then she really... Are you saying Akane stabbed Tamori? I can't believe it. Why did Tyra do that? Tyra, no matter what you did, in the end, there is a separate real criminal who directly killed Tamori other than you. You're not treated as a real criminal in this trial. If you admit to the crime, you won't be executed. So tell me with your own mouth, did you really do it and why? I'm sorry.
Sorry? Are you sorry? Then it's really true.
You guys are right. I am the one... I stabbed Kizuna-chan.
What?
I'm not particularly sympathetic, but I'm curious. Why did you do that? Kizuna-chan? No. It's more Kizuna, because she's a human being who had no choice but to die.
What are you talking about? It was Tyra herself that most defended Tamori, didn't you?
I'm sorry. It's just in case I was found out. I just made an excuse and got scared. It must have been it. Actually, you seem to believe that you were the real culprit. But I want you to believe this. I never decided to kill and stab Kizuna-chan.
What does that mean? You didn't stab with murder intention, but after that remark you seemed to despise Tamori.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Let me give you an explanation. I'm not sure about Makaru and Uehara know this, but the day after the motives came out, we all went to persuade Kizuna-chan. Actually, Kizuna-chan was also lonely, and she tried to convince herself because she knew it deep down. I finally opened my heart to Kizuna-chan, and we hugged, and I finally thought we became friends, truly. But that evening, Kizuna-chan had something to talk about, so she called me to the switchium. I took a flashlight and went there. Kizuna-chan, are you here?
Right here, Tyra.
Kizuna-chan, I know we need to talk about something, but why in such a dark place?
Yeah, no one's coming here, right?
No, I don't think so. So, what did you want to talk about?
Yeah, that's right. I'm too scared now.
What? Scared? Why?
You know the motives given by Monokuma, remember? Our secrets are written in there. It seems like you all threw it away, but I got no clue whose I stumbled upon in the trash. Someone's secret. Do you want to see? First, look at the contents.
Wait, what? What is this? Yuki Maida may actually know the identity of the mastermind? What? Maida, is that true? No, I'm just a normal student.
You're not lying, right? You're not actually playing with us while you know about them, do you?
What?
Stop it. Now is not the time to reproach each other.
Yeah, the message is surprising, but it is urgent we hear Tyra's testimony. Tyra, resume at once.
Okay.
I can't trust Yukun as long as I see that. It's not just that. Knowing the mastermind, they might play with us and try to kill us later.
No, Maida wouldn't do that.
False. You don't know people like just looking at them. Mitsuhiro-kun did the same. Remember?
Then, what do you want to do? Even if you tell the others?
No, that's not the case.
Then...
We can kill him with our hands.
What?
The reason I called you is actually this. Aren't you close to Yukun? Wouldn't you be able to take him out?
You know what you're talking about?
Listen, I have an idea. If you can only help me, otherwise, how can I kill Yukun without being noticed by someone? First of all, I brought the preparations, fuse, the lighter, and finally, a knife. Once you pick up Yuki-kun and call him somewhere, I'll stab him with a knife.
I'm not talking about that. I asked if you were serious. If you kill, you'll die in a trial.
That's when the killer is stupidly caught. Did you forget that the only way to get out from here is to murder someone? So first help me. If my murder is successful, I'll help you. What do you think? Let's get out together.
Oh, she's such a bitch. Oh god. Are you crazy? Why do I want to murder?
What? Don't you want to get out of here?
I want to go out, but doing that at the expense of another's life?
That's it then. I am the only one who wants to go outside more than anyone here. I'm not a human being who will rot in this place. Why should I? A bright future awaits me once I get out of this place. Actually, I got everything ready after those 2 days from the previous class trial. I also brought these tools early today. I'm going to kill this traitor. Wouldn't be less guilty to kill a bad guy, right? You better think and join me here.
What are you saying? Being prepared for a murder since the second day? Then you didn't open up to us.
Oh my god, this stupid bitch. Of course I was acting. Do you think I'm gonna go and fall for that crappy event?
I can't.
Alright, so just do what I tell you to do. Know that you were lucky I chose you. Please bring Yuki-kun here by tomorrow morning.
No, I hate it. Why should I help you murder? And I can't believe that Maida-kun is such an evil person. That's obviously Monokama's lie. Anyway, I'm not going to help you. And Kizuna-chan, please wake up and don't do this. If you are with us, I'm sure you can find a way.
Oh, okay, you.
What?
Well, I didn't expect you to cooperate from the start with the murder because you didn't. I had to change the target as planned.
What are you?
Yep. I was right.
Called that. Hey, Kizuna-chan?
You dodged it.
Well, why are you doing this, Kizuna-chan?
Why are you asking? I'm trying to kill you.
Kizuna-chan?
You already knew I was going to kill, remember? I can't keep you alive. It's a pity that you can't kill Yuki Maida, but it doesn't matter if you can't get out of here.
Someone save me.
Is that true? Tamori tried to kill Akane first.
Even so, before the motives came out, she just made up her mind to kill someone and all the appearances she showed up were an act? Yeah, Tamori Kizuna was that kind of person. So, you felt in danger of your own life and attacked Tamori in self-defense. Oh no, that's not right. Listen, I didn't really intend to stab Tamori in self-defense, or any of the sort.
Then, why did you?
Mori ran to kill you. What happened after that?
I noticed that Kizuna-chan was serious, and I was too scared. I tried to run for it. Then I was pushed down by Kizuna and fell over. And I tried to resist somehow, and the flashlights we were holding broke each other.
That was when the 2 broken flashlights were broken in this museum.
I couldn't see anything because the flashlight was broken, and I was right next to Kizuna-chan with a knife. I was really scared, and I tried to resist with my whole body. Honestly, I think it was pretty luck that I didn't get hit by the knife. But by the way, suddenly Kizuna-chan at one point became really quiet, and that's when I took my chance to get out of the switchium.
You got out?
Okay, you stabbed Tamori Kizuna while resisting without knowing it. When I looked at my hands in a bright place, I saw a lot of blood. There was a lot of red on my clothes. I got in a panic. I didn't want to look behind me. I got out of the power room and ran to the bathroom to wipe the blood.
So that's what happened.
I was wiping it with water until the smell of blood was washed away. Then the announcement came out. I thought Kizuna-chan was the one whom I stabbed was found, so my vision became white. After that, I went to the power room. There was a fire for some reason, and the switching was all messed up. Other than yourself, there was someone else who touched the scene of the crime. Did you think it was you who killed her? That's not it. What happened was...
That's how the events are connected.
This is all I know about the case. I never meant to stab Kizuna-chan with evil intentions. Whatever the reason, good or bad, once you look at the results, they are Tyrant Kane stabbed Tamori Kizuna. This is a fact. You cannot change its meaning for whatever reason you might say. But you said I wasn't the culprit. Yes, you just stabbed her like I said. There's another killer who caused the fire and the final blow. If the trial settles safely, it'll be the real criminal, not you, who's going to be executed. So your sins will be laid aside after the trial is over. Don't think you'll just get over it. Now wait a second, it still was an accident, wasn't it? Besides, if Tamori hadn't been stabbed, then Tyra would have died.
That's right. Don't be too forceful with her. Tyra herself is more distressed than anyone else.
I'm sorry.
Hey, second to the fact that it was a crime or forced result, the trial isn't over yet, right? Now that we know the case, we need to find the true culprit. So let's not get excited just yet, children.
Fine, let's talk about this later, because the trial is the most important thing right now.
Akane, don't blame yourself too much. Because in the end, you survived. For the most part, I think it's the best outcome that you lived. Isn't it important to be alive?
I am, Chan. Thank you.
No, then, let's organize the case based on Tyra's words. Tori tried to plan a killing a few days ago, and she called Tyra to the switchium to plan her crime with them and tried to kill Tyra in the process. But her plan failed. She died. This is the whole story of the case.
Hey, you. Stay still. There's a bit of mental ferocity in there. Now then, let's do a little summary. First, the number of people involved in this case are 3. One is the victim, Kizuna Tamori. The next person is the criminal, who has not been identified yet. And the last one is a third party, Tyra Kane. Tamori, who wanted to leave here as soon as possible, planned a murder, before even the motives came out. Her rebellion was just an excuse for Tamori, and for the first time, she attempted to make Tyra join forces in the crime.
If Tamori worked with someone, it would have been easy for her to escape, but Tyra refused, as expected. She tried to get rid of Tyra, the one who heard her plan and left no traces behind.
However, the attack missed, and in return, there was an accident where the knife ended up stabbing Tamori while tangled up in the dark.
Tyra was surprised that she stabbed her, and then she ran to the bathroom. But when she heard the announcement that the body was found, she went back to the power room, and there were things like the fire that she hadn't even done. So Kanye was something. I skipped it. I'm telling you, every episode, at least once, I accidentally hit the button too fast.
So then, in the end, the killer made use of Tyra's talent and put the blame on her in order to make us vote for her.
Yeah, there were 3 people involved, so the case was so complicated as it is. By the way, no matter what happened this far, this would mean that she's not the culprit of the case, right? But then who is the real culprit?
The true culprit. The true culprit's identity.
Nami, what is it? Did you figure something out? No, that's just amazing that Kurakawa is just very active and participating in the conversation.
Are you serious?
I have to say, there are already hints about the real culprit.
What? Who is it?
Really, who is it? In general, there's no one who does not have a noticeable alibi other than Tyra. In other words, it is possible for anyone to commit the crime. However, there's only one of us who has led all the situations to their advantage. Yes, and very precisely, I may add.
Oh, there's someone like that. Who on earth?
Surely it's not Tyra.
There's someone who's taken advantage of the circumstances of the case with too ridiculous timing. That it could be simply a coincidence at first glance. Think about it. The fire was not caused by Tyra, then obviously the real culprit set the fire. But don't you think there's something amiss? When you leave a fire, the corpse will need to be burned, and you don't know when it could be found.
But Hatano actually found it.
Yes, Hatano found it. Well, if that's the case, the wire matters too. Even if you install a wire trap as bait for a burnt flashlight in the corner, there is a possibility that no one will find it and it could end up just there, right?
But it didn't because... Huh?
Isn't it something a little weird? What does the siding in between the fire and the wire have in common? If you think about it, you will see the answer.
Am I gonna be right? Is it actually her? Okay, well, this game does, really want to kill off all the athletes immediately for some reason. The person who led all the situations to their own advantage. The person who led the case so that they could solve it on their own accord. The only one person in doubt. They are strong enough to instigate the most of an incident. The first time they noticed the fire in the wire trap. No, why? I have to stop thinking about that. The main thing is that they did this job, okay? If you don't find out the truth, then we will all die. Oh my god, I thought because, yeah, because she did the wire thing, it just made her seem innocent. Like, why would she do that to herself as an athlete? But that was really more just to give her. And also I was thinking maybe it was going to be her because I didn't know how they would put that into the writing, especially if you hadn't done her free time events, if she was just injured in the future. Kind of crazy that I predicted that, though. Sort of. I was suspicious of her earlier. As Kenjo says, there's only one person, only someone who could move the situation to their advantage. That person was Hatano. You. What?
Now, what are you?
Maida, did you get tired? The culprit was the one who hurt Hatano's leg. What if Hatano's the culprit? She was aiming at her own leg? Nonsense. It would be more reliable to say that I'm the one crazy.
That's quite true.
Please don't mess with me, Maida-kun. No matter what, Ayame-chan being the culprit is...
That's right, Kenjo didn't stand still and say something. Maida seems to be losing it now.
No, that incompetent made a very precise reasoning. Don't you agree? The culprit is Ayana Hatano. She must be. I'm not exactly denying it, but I don't have a clear picture. Can you at least clarify why you believe so? It's because of a few reasons. Hatano is suspect. The true culprit of the case is not strange to any of us. The reason is because Tara pulled the ceremony of the incident and the killer was only a light maneuver in the scene. All the alibis were also in the dark, and there were contradictions no matter who you put as a killer. However, that's why Hatano's actions were. Hatano's behavior was even more natural. What are you talking about? The killer made an alibi trick by building a fire and finishing Tamori herself, in which Tyra couldn't. Until here, everybody understands, right? Then here, who was the first to discover the fire? What do you think?
That was Hatano?
There's no way to call someone a culprit with just that. You shut up, second-hand killer. It's not just that. And even though the corpse was found, the killer installed a wire trap as if aiming at someone.
And who was the person who discovered this first?
That was also hard to know too.
Let's think. At best, she made an alibi trick. If someone else found it first, there would be too many dangerous variables. But if you set a fire, you can create the best situation you want.
Are you referring to the situation where the criminal himself is putting out the fire with other people?
That's right, because the original purpose of the killer's fire was to break the glass and heat it to make someone think that a person escaped. If the killer was with other people in that situation, they would have their own alibi. Well, it's a crappy trick, so I didn't even doubt it from the beginning.
In addition, Hatane would have enough time to install the wire. Listening to Tyra's story, Tamori brought out all the tools, so you can use them in the arms of the dead Tamori.
Then, no, but Ayame-chan? Well, there must be something wrong with that. I mean, it could be a coincidence. Hatano was the culprit just like that.
Why is the one person who was picked up being silent, but the others are noisy?
Hey, why are you being quiet? Are you exercising your right to remain silent? Or you think of this as a joke?
It's just so absurd that you left me speechless. I'm still standing here and I'm being treated as a criminal.
I mean, this isn't funny, Ayane-chan. You can't be the culprit.
Oh, anything to object to then?
Of course, you don't seem to realize it yet. I'll tell you why I can't be the killer. Oh no, here we go. Our trap is pulling secret notes.
Why can't you be the culprit?
Okay, it looks like you guys are missing one thing in particular. Tamori's time of death. Do you remember it? Time of death. Was it not specified in the Monokuma file?
Ah, correct, 9:30 p.m. It said around that time, right?
Huh? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, around 9:30 p.m. I was putting the fire with Kinjo and the others.
Accurately, that's true.
So, what happened?
Tonori might have told someone to meet at 9:30 p.m. and she was stabbed in surprise. At that time, she was still dead. I didn't see anyone. I can't be the culprit.
Tamori's death was definitely 9:30 p.m. Then Hatsuno has an alibi, but there's something so unnatural about it. Even so, the Monokuma file doesn't tell lies. Then let's think of the arrangement. She reminds me of what's been said before. To think about her words, the secret behind Tamori's unnatural time of death will also be solved. No, that's wrong.
Break.
Hatsuno, is that really so?
What?
Is this your opinion, Hatano? Because the time of death is 9:30 p.m. The culprit killed Tamori by stabbing Tamori at 9:30 p.m.
Of course, Tamori's death is a stabbed neck as a reminder. It must have been an instant death at the moment. But that's not the case.
Huh. Even if you agree that Hajino's words are true, at first glance, after putting some consideration into the circumstances, at that time the killer was not already inside the switchium. Nice, right, you have no choice but to. This is a problem you solved earlier, right? From the time her fire started to ignite, Tamori must have been stabbed by her knife.
Yeah, otherwise, the alibi trick of breaking a window remotely would be meaningless. But then, what happened to Tamori's time of death? No matter how much you think about it, Tamori's death at 9:30 p.m., it makes no sense.
Everyone listen carefully. From here on out, the reasoning behind this is a little mixed, meaning perhaps Tamori, before Hatsuno discovered the fire, may have already been around 9 o'clock with a knife on her neck.
Oh, what?
Super grotesque.
That's far-fetched, Maida. Are you really thinking about it? Are you able to prove that a human being can live for 30 minutes with a throat pierced?
I don't really believe it either, but I'm not saying this for no reason. There is evidence that Tamori survived that long. The first thing I came to think of was because of Inori. Thanks a lot.
But me?
That was when Inori was investigating, wasn't it? Remember what you said to me after examining Tamori's body?
What should I say? It's a terrible amount of bleeding. Humans die of excessive bleeding when about 1/3 of the blood volume flows out. But this is not about 1/3, as you can see. It's amazing that even this amount of blood came out. The wound on the neck is definitely fatal, but it should have coagulated to some extent, and the amount of bleeding should have gradually decreased after the heart stopped beating.
That means, are you saying something else produced the mass bleeding?
No, I cannot confirm this with my own opinion. It is rare, but if your blood pressure is drawn, then the amount of bleeding increases. That much I know for sure. To put it simply, there are individual differences. Well, having a lot of bleeding in here means it took quite a while before death. Thanks to this, Tamori must have died in very terrible pain.
Think about it. At around 9:30, Tamori had just been stabbed by a knife in her neck. If she died when we found it, the blood would not have been spread out. Of course, when we discovered it, there was still a little bleeding, but most of this started to harden, and it is unnatural to see that such a deep liquid had been floating after 9:30. That makes sense, but Maida, did you forget Tamori's wound? It's not just the neck. Could it have flowed out of the stomach wound? Of course it is possible, but there's another proof that says she's been alive for a long time after being stabbed by the neck. If Tamori died in a blow as soon as her throat was pierced, there was a sign that should never be there, because Tamori knew who the real killer was. Who killed them other than Tyra. Such a marker was written by them. Another proof that Tamori was alive was dying message modification. The reason is because of the dying message.
Dying message. Didn't that story end earlier, pointing to the maid word?
Yes, but when I came back to it, I could see something I didn't see before. There was a big X after the word maid. That meaning is correct, as we guessed before, not the maid. So she was like, she thought it was her, and she's like, stupid Akane, I'm gonna write your name down. And then Hachino comes in and stabs her. She's like, never mind, X wasn't her. Come to think of it, was it written by Tamori? I thought Tyra wrote it as a self-act. It was the reason we found the dying message. I mentioned this before, but after seeing the blood, I just went to the bathroom midway. I couldn't afford to think about that. Yeah, it's not Tyra, it's likely the former idea. Tamori wrote the word maid in her own blood to let us know. If that's the case, why is there an X next to it? It wasn't the criminal's own doing, but the reason the victim herself added an X and wrote, not the maid. Oh, I see. She tried to correct the dying message as she wrote maid because there was another person who stabbed her neck while she was writing the letters. Yes. If Tamori died immediately as soon as her throat was cut, there wouldn't be a correction of the dying message, as she would have left out the strength. She would have been left out of strength to muster. But even after being stabbed in the neck, her will still was living as much as being able to correct the message with all of her strength, while holding a knife in her throat. How Tamori had a cut throat and was alive, that much I don't know. But the things I said now to prove that Tamori was still alive, under these conditions. Therefore, even if Tamori's time of death was 9:30 p.m., there's no evidence that you can say you're incapable of committing this crime.
It can't be. This is a lie.
Ayame-chan? Really? This is such a ridiculous story about being alive with a stabbed neck. Ayame-chan, please say something. It's hard to believe, but humans are creatures that sometimes achieve phenomena beyond. It happens sometimes even in terror scenes. Nothing strange at all.
Well, what? Then Hatsuno, are you really the culprit?
I don't know why Hatsuno did this. If my reasoning was wrong, it would be really weird, but there are many situations. The more I think Hatsuno's the culprit, the more it fits. Hatsuno, let me hear it from your own voice. The truth.
No! Wait, I can't tolerate that Hatano is the culprit. It's unacceptable.
Inori, I know it's hard to believe. I can't believe it either, so if you look at Hatano's actions, you can only say that it's so suspicious that everything goes in her favor.
She's not suspicious. There's a reason it wasn't suspicious. I'll let you know why Hatano is not the culprit.
Flashlight, the autopsy, her injury. It's one of those three. Do you really think so? Even if you target an unknown person, it's meaningless if it's not found. No matter how you use a flashlight as bait. Finding one in that short time, it's weird too.
This is just by chance. No normal person really wants to get out of here too. There's no point in hurting your own body. Hatano's not the culprit.
Oh my god. I cannot mess up at all again. That was so confusing. Inori, I'm sorry, but there is another evidence that Hatano is the culprit. Inori's argument is clear. The culprit wouldn't hurt themselves, right?
Of course, isn't it? If you are a killer, you are not supposed to aim for yourself.
What if it was calculated to induce that thought? That's what I'm saying.
What?
What are you talking about, Maida? Surely you don't mean. If you're a criminal, you can never hurt yourself. What if you were doing a self-play to deliberately draw out that thought? Otherwise, there's no gain for a killer to install the wire. They ended up murdering and finished the process, but after that, when they installed a wire and aimed at someone, it only adds suspicion. There's no benefit from it for the killer.
So then, maybe there's a reason to put it there? Isn't there?
That's right. I'm sure there is. That's why Ayame-chan is not the culprit, and it's not the only thing. Even if the killer had some reason, they installed wires to target someone. Even so, how exactly do you intend to cut the leg tendon? Our stride length and calf size are all different.
That's...
Hey, cutting the tendon might not have been the purpose. Ayame-chan suffered a fatal injury because of bad luck. If that's the case, I wouldn't install the wire. You didn't need to use wires while holding a risk to your future. I was aiming at Ayame-chan from the start, so I installed the wire exactly in the position of Ayame-chan's tendon. How do you know that? It is difficult to know the position of a tendon without prior knowledge, but you install it while calculating the trap to trip over? The only one of us who has that knowledge is the surgeon, Inori. Her own legs at the same time, who knows more about the muscles of athlete than Hatano herself.
She can't be.
Inori, Hatano was never caught in the trap because of bad luck. Because she was caught in the trap she installed. She was able to produce such a perfect tendon-cutting accident. That was pretty good.
It's really her.
Why did Hatano?
Well, I'm the one who saw Hatano's wounds. I can't believe that she made a wound so full of evil intention.
Ayame-chan can't be the culprit. I'd rather be the culprit, even if I'm executed only for Ayame-chan. I can't believe it either. I wish it was all a lie. I wish it was all a dream. I wish my reasoning had been turned into a mess and I would wake up from this nightmare.
Is this how everything ends up?
You can see it like that. Overall, I have the same opinion as Maida, but I want to hear at least the confession from her mouth, because I have to make sure.
Well, it's too late to argue at this point.
Amy Hatano, can I take your vote of silence as your affirmation of your crime and end this already? Not Ayame-chan. It can't be her. After all, it was me who stabbed Tomori. I'm the one who gets executed. I'd rather do that. Ayame-chan is innocent.
Akane doesn't have to be executed.
Ayame-chan?
And, of course, not me either.